How you doing today? We have Sterling back here who's gonna demonstrate for us an overhead squat. So I'm gonna have you overhead squat for me. Some key things to know about Sterling. He had an Achilles tear 3 years ago and had an MCL sprain this year in his football season. So squat down for me. As you can see, his toes start pointing out, which means probable overactive muscles are your soleus, your lateral gastrocnemius, your bicep femoris, and your tensor fascia latae. Your possible underactive muscles are your medial gastrocnemius, your medial hamstring, your gluteus maximus or medius, your gracilis, and your popliteus. Now, example of exercises you can help to enhance your flexibility are some calf stretches, hamstring stretches, and standing TFL stretch. An example of exercises that would strengthen this would be single leg balance reaches. Now, I'm gonna have you squat one more time. Down. As you can see, his right knee bows in, which means probable overactive muscles are your adductor complex, your bicep femoris, your tensor fascia latae, your vastus lateralis, and your lateral gastrocnemius. And then possible muscles that are underactive are your gluteus maximus medius, again, your vastus medialis oblique or your VMO muscle, also known as a teardrop. Then you have your medial hamstring and your medial gastrocnemius. Now, examples of exercises that can help with your flexibility would be an adductor stretch, a hamstring stretch, a TFL stretch, and a calf stretch. And now exercises that would increase your strength would be lateral tube walking with ball squats with adduction and a ball bridge with adduction. And now we're gonna have Ulysses Marquez demonstrate the overhead squat from the posterior view.
Hello, my name is Ulysses Marquez, and I'm going to be talking about his posterior view of his overhead squat assessment. So I'm going to have Sterling go down his overhead squat right now. As you can see, his toes go up a little bit, so his foot flattens. So that means that his overactive muscles that he's probably using are his peroneals, his lateral gastrocnemius, his bicep femoris, and his tensor fascia latae. You can come back up. So that means his underactive muscles are his anterior tibialis, his posterior tibialis, his medial gastrocnemius, and his gluteus medius. To gain flexibility, good exercises will be to do a peroneal stretch, a calf stretch, a hamstring stretch, and a standing TFL stretch. And if he wants to strengthen that area, he can do single leg balance reach, as well as a single leg medial calf raise. And now we're gonna have Daviel Clark talk about the lateral view.
Okay, so right here, I'm gonna demonstrate the lateral view of the overhead squat. Could you squat first, please? As you can see, when Sterling squats, his lower back arches. You can stand up. The probable overactive muscles are his hip flexor complex, his erector spinae, and latissimus dorsi. His probable underactive muscles is his gluteus maximus, his hamstrings, his intrinsic core stabilizers, for example, his pelvic floor muscles, and his internal obliques. Flexibility exercises for correctiveness is he can do a hip flexor stretch, lower latissimus dorsi stretch, and erector spinae stretch. To strengthen these muscles, he can do a ball squat, a floor bridge, and a ball bridge.
How you doing? We have Nate here today to explain 2 exercises to help with flexibility and strength to prevent external rotation of the foot during an overhead squat. So Nate.
I'll be demonstrating a calf stretch. So first we'll be getting into a push-up position, and you will be experiencing dorsiflexion. Get on one leg, preferably your right first, and you'll hold this stretch for 10 seconds. You feel the stretch in your calves. And then you switch for another 10 seconds. Experience dorsiflexion. Feel the stretch. 9, 10. For our second exercise, we'll be demonstrating a single leg balance reach. First, you need an object placed in front of you, and you would balance on one leg, and you'll reach forward. You should feel the stretch in your hamstrings and your calves. We'll do about 8. After 8, switch. Remember to try and reach with the opposite leg, with the opposite arm. So if you're on your right, you'd be reaching with your left. There we go. Christian will be here today demonstrating 2 exercises to prevent flattening of the feet during an overhead squat.
So I will be explaining a standing TFL stretch and a single-legged calf raise. So for the standing TFL stretch, you're gonna get in a staggered stance. You're gonna externally rotate your back leg so your feet are pointing straight. You're gonna keep your hips squared, and then you're going to raise your left hand and you're going to reach over, keeping stability and just coming over. Hold this for 10 seconds. And make sure when you're doing the stretch to turn, then come back into position. And now I'm gonna explain a single-legged calf raise. You can do this anywhere. You can do it on a wall or just standing. All you have to do is hold your leg up at a 90-degree angle and lift at the calf. Hold for 10 seconds, come down, and do it again for 5 reps. Make sure you're holding it for 10 seconds, and then drop.
Christian will now be demonstrating 2 exercises to prevent lower back arch during an overhead squat assessment.
So you're gonna get down on one knee. You're gonna make sure your legs at a 90-degree angle, and then you're gonna lean forward, keeping yourself upright, holding this position for about 10 seconds, then come back up, and then go right back into that same position. You should be feeling it all through your hip flexors. All right, I will now demonstrate floor bridges. You get on the ground. Have your legs tucked close to your body. As you lay down, you're gonna raise the hips to make sure you're at a straight position. And then you will drop. And you do it again. Hold this position for 10 seconds. And that is it.